Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United have the winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United, the National League, are through. 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football, perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast. I'm your host Mike, and joining me today we have Dan and Mark. We're going to be looking at the Hartlepool draw, and we're going to look forward to the visit of Swindon on Tuesday. We're going to talk about the visit of Swindon on Tuesday anyway. Don't forget, you can help, of course, to support the show with one-off donations or regular subscriptions by joining us on Patreon. If you want to know more, look for the support us page on the website, or drop me a message by email or at Sutton Podcast on any of the socials. A big thank you to everyone who has supported in the past and everyone who is still supporting us. Danny Bolt's interview is now live on Patreon, and it will be on general release in another week or so. I've messed up on the dates there because obviously we've got the Swindon match this week, so it won't be this week. It'll be probably the one after. Really glad to that you joined us to listen to the recently shortlisted for the EFL, the real EFL awards. We're in the first wave of nominations. Didn't get much further than that, but hey, whatever. And we are back up to 119th in the Ukrainian sports charts. So thank you to everyone in the Ukraine for whatever reason you're listening to this podcast. Looking forward to having a chat with you guys, and we'll start off with Mark, who we spoke to about 4 weeks ago after the defeat at Salford. How have you been, Mark?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks. Just doing my usual stuff, going to football, going to pubs, watching birds, the feathered variety.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And Dan, it was a little bit longer with you. It was beginning of January after the Wimbledon game. And I think you ended up, I was booted out of that live show at first. But Dan, how are you? Yeah, Dan's having technical problems. He's shaking his head. Can't hear us at the moment. We'll come back to Dan in just a moment. So just before we get to anything, we will just talk about club news. The big one really to talk about this week is we've just moved on to the Sports Social Podcast Network, and that means that you probably would have heard some adverts by the time you're listening to this. Hopefully it's going to be a good thing, and we will sort of see how it goes. But yeah, we've just moved on to this Sports Network. And also the Community Pavilion has been launched. So it's a thing on, it's a sort of GoFundMe thing. So there's lots of, for want of a better word, prizes up for grabs. And you can do all sorts of different things, sort of donate different amounts of money and get different things for it. So some of them are quite useful, but have a look on that on the club website and on their Twitter. And the ladies team today, they lost in the quarterfinals of the Cup. They lost 3-1 to Worthing. It was at home. They actually did much better than the scoreline reflects, because they lost to Worthing, I think it was 8-0 earlier in the season. Much better game of it today. They were sort of winning until about 60 minutes, I think it was. And they gave a really good account of themselves and battled for the full sort of 60 minutes. But unfortunately, Worthing are a really, really good side. They're top of the league. I think they've not lost in a long time. They've got lots of players from Lewis and Brighton, or ex-players from a much higher level. So that's it's no disgrace to lose them. But we did hold them very well with another goal from the child Lily. So that was really, really good. I would be normally jumping straight to the ultimate team, but we will give Dan a couple of minutes just to see if he can make his way back. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a tricky vote situation, but never mind, we'll work it out. So, Mark, on to the game. It seems that Matt was a little bit cagey with some of the facts with Lewis's injury. It's possibly a bit worse than we were led to believe, because I think he was only supposed to be out for last week's game, and then he was out yesterday as well. And then there was Rob out and still no Josh. So how were you feeling at the lineup stage?
Well, I think Matt indicated Lewis was probably only about 50-50 for yesterday's game. He said he needed a fitness check before the match, so it wasn't a huge surprise that he was missing from the lineup. And Matt, of course, in his pre-match interview, said that another of our regular players, one who played against Stevenage last weekend, wouldn't be fit because he'd taken a whack in that game. And I think a few of us worked out that was probably Rob. And it turned out to be Rob, who was also missing. So two of our regular back four, not playing. But reading between the lines, I don't think either's going to be out for much longer. One of them, or even both of them, might be back for Tuesday. So I'm not too concerned by that. Josh, I think, got a whack on his ankle in training, and is probably going to be out for a bit longer, maybe a matter of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, also, we're not going to suggest that we're big time or anything, but Hartlepool are kind of down there at the moment, and you would probably want to rest some of your players rather than taking a risk on them when there's other games coming up with clubs sort of in and around our position as well. So obviously it makes a bit of sense.
Well, I don't know. I think if you look at that fixture, you probably thought, well, Hartlepool not in great form. They're shipping lots of goals. We could win there, and if that were not for the red card, I think probably we would have won.
Yeah.
I think on paper you can argue Hartlepool away looked an easier 3 points than the next one, Swindon at home. But we can come on to that a bit later.
Yeah. So we set out quite early. We had a very, very good chance that I think fell to Ali, and it just looked like one of those that he couldn't A, quite believe it, or B, get his feet sorted out. And but we could have been 1-0 up in about 30-40 seconds. I think that was at the other end for you guys, though, wasn't it?
No, it was at our end. Yeah,
oh, right.
I think Craig Eastman put the cross in. I think Liango almost got a touch, couldn't quite get a foot on it, and then it fell to Ali. I think maybe he was taken a bit by surprise, and they didn't quite get his feet right, and I think the ball just hit the post and went out.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was an encouraging early sign. That was a minute or so into the game, and we almost scored. So that set the tone for the next half hour or so.
Well, yeah, it was clear domination for that 30-minute spell. I mean, I think it wasn't only was it the 8th minute or something that Dave scored. I can't remember.
I think it might have been a bit later than that, but it was certainly pretty early.
Yeah. And what did that? So that goal would have been in front of you guys as well. What was that?
Oh yeah. And there was almost a sort of crowd of our players sort of queuing up to score that, but David got the decisive touch. Nice cross in from Sam Hart, who of course was deputising for Rob Milson. He's not had many starts for us, but he did well with the cross for that opening goal.
And then Liango doubled the advantage. I think Matt was saying he thought there was an element of offside for that one.
I've just actually got the Football League paper here, Mike, and it's got the timings of the goals. Ajiboy's was 18 minutes. 18. And Angles was 31. Yeah.
I knew there was an 8 somewhere.
I looked at the footage of that, and I can see what Matt means. It does look a bit as if Lee is in an offside position when the ball is played forward, but you can't be absolutely sure because you're not looking across, you're looking from sort of above. So I don't think that footage is conclusive. But yeah, I could kind of understand where Matt was coming from. But there was no flag, and you've got to accept those gifts if it was a gift when they come. So he took his goal very well, just dinked it over the keeper. Nice finish, first goal for the club. And he looked a real handful. He's obviously a different sort of player from Donovan, who would normally start alongside Omar. But I think Omar and Lee, between them, they're both fairly tall, quite physical players. And I think that they're a real handful of other defences, and that was proved early on in the game yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was. There was lots of people saying it should have been 4, maybe 5, in that sort of opening spell. I mean, there was very unsavoury tackle on Will, which looked bad in like when you obviously I knew what had happened, but so when I was watching it in real time, it looked bad enough. But when you saw the stills that have been going around, it does look terrible, and the referee is looking right at it.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah,
I was very disappointed with the iFollow commentary. I think it was a couple of BBC Tees people, and they were quite scathing. They were more interested in saying how terrible our players were for chatting to the referee about it, and they were glad it was only a yellow because it didn't deserve a red and all this. And I'm like, you're watching the bloke go off the pitch, and they were booing as well as he was coming off the pitch. I mean, that must have been quite. I mean, I don't think we've had an update on Will at the moment, but
no. I mean, Will is, as we know, is a little bit injury prone. Not been so bad this season, but you do fear the worst when Will goes off with an obvious injury, because when that's happened in the past, he's often been out for weeks.
Yeah.
So I'd have to wait and see what the update is on that.
Yeah.
But I'm not expecting Will to play on Tuesday. That'd be a great surprise if he's in the starting lineup or even on the bench.
But yeah, I mean, he's not going to come off if he's not injured, because the way we were playing at that time. I
mean, as soon as he got tackled, he went down. He was thumping the turf in frustration. And when a player does that, he knows he's got a potentially quite serious injury.
Yeah.
I mean, the ref I thought was quite lenient early on, probably too lenient. I think Hartlepool may have set out to stamp their mark on us literally in the early stages, knowing that refs don't tend to give red cards very early in matches. Obviously, we did suffer one up at Stockport when Omar was sent off, but that was highly unusual. Normally, refs are reluctant to give red cards in the first sort of 15 minutes of the game. And there was a very early challenge, I think it was on Omar on the touchline, which could have been a yellow, but the ref just gave a free kick. And then not long afterwards, it was what looked like a 2-footed challenge on Will, which I think some refs would have deemed a red card offence, just a yellow. So that was disappointing. And then, of course, we know what happened a bit later in the game.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was a couple people saying they thought the first yellow was a little bit a soft one.
Yeah.
Not much argument with the second yellow.
Yeah.
However, as much as you sort of love Craig, you've got to question your experienced player. You knew you were on a yellow. Did he just think that the ref wasn't going to give another one so quickly, or?
Yeah, no, it was a rash challenge, and an experienced player like him and the captain should have known better. But I think there was a certain amount of frustration that the ref had let quite a lot go of challenges on our players. And just before Craig's first yellow, there'd been quite a nasty challenge on, I think it was Ali Smith, that went unpunished. And it was moments after that, I think, that Craig picked up his first yellow. But the one he got the second yellow for. I mean, there was no danger. It was there in their half of the pitch. There was no threat to our goal. The guy was just going for the ball on the touchline, and if Craig hadn't made the challenge, I don't think anything too dangerous would have ensued from our point of view. But he just perhaps needed in that split second to think, do I need to make this challenge? No, not really. Let it go. And he didn't. He made the challenge, and as soon as he made it, and the guy went down, you knew that he knew he was in big trouble.
Yeah. Cool. So I think that was 37, 38 minutes. So all we needed to do
thereabouts.
was just
Yeah.
get ourselves through the next few minutes, get ourselves to half time, and then sort ourselves out. And from absolutely nowhere, Hartlepool started playing like prime Brazil and scored two absolute. I mean, you can't dispute the goals; they were great goals.
Yeah.
A great free kick, which obviously you work on free kicks, attacking and defending them. So okay, fair enough. Probably shouldn't have given away the free kick, but the equaliser was just a ridiculous goal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's difficult because obviously you expect to hold on to a lead like that. Made it hard for ourselves, but we kind of get into second half 2-2. Were you fearing the worst at that point? Were you thinking we'd hang on?
Well, you do fear the worst, but I think there was a sense that Hartlepool weren't actually a great side. They had a purple patch in the minutes leading up to half time, but from what we'd seen earlier, they weren't actually a particularly good side by League Two standards. So I think there was a feeling that if we organised ourselves properly, we could hang on for at least a point. We've not got a great record with 10 men, but remember the home game against Salford, for example, when Donovan was sent off and we were 1-0 up and ended up losing 2-1. So yeah, there was a certain amount of nervousness, and Matt said he changed formation once during that second half. I think we started with sort of 4-3-2. We were lacking a bit of width, a bit exposed on the flanks. Now I think we went 4-4-1. With Omar dropping into midfield, which we'd done before half time after Craig went off, and that seemed to work. And they had chances, but we looked occasionally dangerous on the break. We had a couple more chances to score, and we actually finished the game quite strongly. I mean, we had a few corners in the final sort of 5 minutes or so. They also had another free kick, and the guy who scored from the free kick in the first half took it, but Jack Rose made a good save. That was about 5 minutes from time, I think.
Yes, I mean we hung on. I mean, it's a difficult one because I think Tony mentioned it in his interviews. Always respect the point, but you would have been hoping for before the game for 3 at 2-0, and the way we were playing, you definitely would have been expecting 3. So it kind of has an air of a little bit of we threw 2 points away there.
Yeah.
But who knows? Towards the end of the season, that 1 point might be vital. If it's the opposite way to last season, that 1 point might make all the difference. Yes. So since Dan isn't coming back, you get the lovely pleasure of choosing some players of the day. I have jotted a few names down. If you want to do 2, it's up to you if you want to do 2 or all of them.
I'll certainly do 2. I could do more if you want. Well, maybe 3. Well, I think Lee Engel has got to be in the frame. He looked very good. He's obviously scored the goal, but his all-round game, I think, was very impressive. Held the ball up well. It was a nuisance to their defence. He had other chances to score. And he's already looking great acquisition by Matt. So yeah, Lee, and I'll put Jack Rose's name in because I mentioned the save from the free kick. He made another quite good save very late in the game as well, straight at him, but it's quite a powerful shot. And when you're down to 10 men and you've got backs against the wall a bit, you need your goalkeeper and your defenders to be on song, and Jack helped to preserve that point with those two latish saves.
Lovely. So I had both those names jotted down, but I've also got down Dave scored again for us. So, and also Sam thought he did very well deputising for Rob. In fact, I think one of the Hartlepool fans was saying they were very impressed with the left back, and then someone on Twitter said, "Yeah, that's not our normal left back either." So, I think we'll put those 4 names forward, and we'll see. Be interesting if Jack wins it because he's won 2 in a row.
Well, he made that fantastic save up at Hartlepool, not Hartlepool, Harrogate, the other HA, didn't he? So he was certainly worthy of the award after that performance.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're going to. Dan's given me his nominations, so we're going to very very quickly do the ultimate 11 thing.
Right.
Rich, from Swindon, is watching, and he's probably going to cut off in a second after he hears all this. But never mind, we'll do it quickly anyway.
And now, 125 years in the making. The Sutton United Talk Time On podcast. Sutton United all-time ultimate 11.
So, Mark, can we have your choice of centre-back? So, Jamie Collins is already in the team.
Okay.
So, who is your nomination for a second centre-back slot?
I'm going to go for our assistant manager, Jason Goodliffe. One of Doz's first signings, a very experienced player at that stage, obviously getting towards the end of his career, but we needed somebody like him. We'd just gone back down to the Isthmian League. We needed a leader and an organiser at the back. Doz identified Jason as that player. I think he was only playing for us for just over a season, but I think he was instrumental in that sort of ship steadying season back down in the Isthmian.
Lovely. Well, Dan hasn't given me any reasons, but he's gone with a name that's been bandied around for a couple of people, but Charlie Clough as well. Who, again, not sure whether he means in his first spell or the second spell of 3 months or whatever it was. I suspect it's the first spell. But Charlie Clough and Jason Goodliffe. So I'll put them both out to the vote for the centre-back slots. And your choice for left-back, sorry for scaring you and saying right-back yesterday. But,
yeah. I had a moment of panic there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go for a player I saw on the introductory sequence, Tony Raines. Of course, was played in the game against Coventry and scored the first goal.
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I thought Dan was being cheeky by choosing the same person as that, because I was like, that's not really fair, because I think Tony's played pretty much across all the back four. So he chose Tony. So I'm going to chuck in my name, which probably not a lot of people will love, but I loved watching Alan Bray playing at left back. I always thought he should have actually been playing a little bit higher than when he was playing with us. He's very, very solid, and I was surprised he stayed with us for so long. So I'm just going to chuck his name in there, and we will see. But I suspect that's a slightly mismatched competition. Player who's played 700 odd games for us, or young Alan Bray. But we'll see what the votes bring, and we'll go from there. Okay, perfect. And Rich has actually stayed with us even after that wonderful, wonderful jingle. So we will now move on to the Tuesday match. Valentine's Day. What could be better on Valentine's Day than standing in a cold Gander Green Lane watching Johnny Williams? Oh, no, sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Rich, hello, how are you?
Having listened to that, all-time 11, I hope there's justice for Kevin and Mankwa somewhere in the conversation. Yeah. That's the only defensive link I could think of. I think Jarrell into the 11. Am I gone?
No, you've just come back. That's fine. It's a. I have to keep repeating. It's not our best player 11. It's people's favourite 11, because it will be a very mixed, odd team. So I've got people coming on next week. They've got combined support of about 4 years, so they're not going to have a very big pool of players to choose from. But hey, yeah, absolutely. But how's things for you guys? I mean, there was a bit of a upset yesterday, wasn't there?
I don't know if it's an upset. We're not having a great time. Swindon, not since October really. It's been very inconsistent over the months. Really great performances with decent wins, followed by. So we're exactly, above mid-table at the moment, and that's about right. So the moment, and dare I say, this could be the against Swindon. Now is as good as time as any to play us, I would say.
We're doing everything we can on the podcast. We banned Jenny, who lives up in Swindon, but every time she's done the review, we've not won. So it's like, all right, Jenny, you're not doing it. Go away. But yeah, there was wasn't it Charlie Austin had a little altercation or a chat with some of the fans at the after the match yesterday?
That's gone viral. But if people behind the goal that aren't happy with, Austin should probably just clap the fans deal out of it, because no matter if he's right or wrong, awkward, doesn't it? And doesn't look right. I think he's told that fan that later on he's going to have a few pints and a Chinese. He is since he joined, rightly so, but it's the plan. He's not getting any service, so you can have the best centre forward or can't get it to him, then what's the point? But yeah, it was something of nothing yesterday behind the goal. I think it's just, but you can clearly hear people chanting Charlie's name.
Yeah, no, it's one of those people whip out the camera. I couldn't even really work out what the hell was going on, to be honest. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's been a lot of comments on Twitter the last couple of days, or last few hours, of go for a pint and some Chinese, and I'm like, I've missed a joke somewhere here. Now I realise where I've missed a joke.
It's literally the only thing you can really hear in the conversation is his fan's going to be doing later. I don't know what the set. Yeah.
That's probably why I didn't hear it, because I was like, I can't work out what's going on here, and I stopped listening after a while. So it's probably why. So yeah, look, when we played you up at your place, we do seem to have a habit of gifting you stuff, don't we, Mark? Because I think it was we had nice clearance which bounced off Louis' face, dropped straight to Johnny Williams' feet. So hopefully we won't make anything like that. But what are your thoughts on the game, Mark? How do you see it going?
Well, it'd be nice to think that this is a good time to play Swindon. I think they've got a 100% record against us so far, and that goes right back to a FA Cup meeting back in the, I'm not sure whether it's 70s or the 80s, but since we came up to League Two, I think we have lost every game, all 3 games that we played Swindon home and away. So it would be nice to kind of end that losing run on Tuesday. I've had a look at some of Swindon's recent results, and as Rich says, they do seem to be inconsistent. There was a 5-0 home win not so long ago, and then they lost 2-0 at home yesterday, and they won away at Barrow and Northampton, which was quite impressive, but then lost at Newport, and before that I think Colchester, although I think they were down to 10 men, weren't they, against Newport for a lot of the games, so maybe mitigating factor there. But yeah, I think it could be a game with a few goals in it. I'd like to think so.
Nice. And Rich, how do you see it going?
Yeah, moment just to settle things. We've got a new head coach. Too well since he's come in, but we don't know how much he's been playing day. So you can guarantee anyone that we did bring in. So he's got a squad of players that he's got to get a note out of. Scott Lindsay didn't do great in the playoff picture when he ditched us for Crawley. I'm not convinced that the club, given how long it took to replace to sack him. So we tend to edge these games. Other than game 1 in the league era, we were brilliant, and then we sort of conceded a few, but close. So it's not one. Well, I'm not particularly looking forward to negative vibe at Swindon at the moment, and we really need a positive result.
Yeah. Well, you'll have likely to have his big mate watching in the stands, because John Terry's been a few times down around Sutton. So I'm sure he'll be there booing his friend Jody. I think we need to break this hoodoo. And as you say, they've been close. Apart from that, it was a spell in that first game where all of us were kind of like going, "Oh, this is League Two football. Yeah, this is what we were expecting." So I think at the time we were all a little bit like, "Oh, okay, this isn't too hard." And then that man ran around that pitch. Why is he playing League Two football? He shouldn't be anywhere near the place. But we even came back into it. So yeah,
he's the only one. Baudry's injured, but he'll never play for Swindon again.
No.
A team that we were last season, both in terms of always similar, but in terms of that, in my opinion, especially attacking options anyway. So yeah, Johnny is the sad final a couple of weeks ago. So he's got to drag us to the playoffs, kicking and screaming.
Yeah, and then there's a whole other little intrigue and not really sure what's gone on where we released Lewis, and the only club he can go back to, he can play for, is you guys. But something's happened on our release where we've not done something, and he now can't play for you guys. So yeah, there's something going on. I'm not entirely sure. It's one thing I can say is it's not going to be something we've done deliberately.
One, because I saw on social rate with Sutton just saying just release him, just he's gone. It's and he'll be here till the end of the season. He's not going to play a minute or injured. It's not the same as last year. That I think Lewis Ward left in the first place is because there wasn't going to be competition for the number 1 shirt. The stipulations of the loan, I think, are pretty clear that Solbrin plays if he's available. Luckily, he's a very good goalkeeper. So,
yeah,
goodness, because since Lewis Ward's gone, we've only had goalkeepers as backup. We haven't had with an experienced in support this season so far. So Lewis Ward was supposed to replace Lewis Ward, and we'll see.
Yeah,
the ball was in Sutton's court by the sound. We don't need a backup goalkeeper really. Get done.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure exactly what's gone on, but I will suspect it's some EFL rule that we didn't know about, that we don't. Oh, this is what we've got to do. Okay, because the others that have left us like that have gone to non-league, so it's probably just something we've not come across.
Or anything like that here, can we? But it's nothing in terms of the football admin. Swindon aren't holier than thou in that respect, so we can.
Okay, well, I think we've flogged it to death. We got a cold Valentine's Day watching League Two football on what might be a close game, or you'll just nick it again. So thank you both for your time. Thanks everyone for listening. And let us know what you think of the show. Like, follow, share on all the socials at Sutton Podcasts. Subscribe to the podcast. Let me know what you think of the new format with the new Sports Social Network, or Podcast Network, sorry. And next time I am joined by, I think it's Joe and Will. No, it's not Joe and Will. It's Gabriel and Will, sorry. So that will be on Wednesday. And then very shortly after, I should be doing an interview with Matt, and that will be released by the end of the week as well. So thanks for your time, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thanks, Mike.
United! United! United!